Lackluster websites are killing B2B bottom lines. Long RFP forms, thin content, no social proof are just a few of the culprits. I recently connected with Sam Dunning at WebChoice UK on this very common situation. I asked him questions like, what are the most common pitfalls? How does website performance directly impact revenue? And what are some of the things that hospitality companies can do today to help stop bleeding revenue? You're not going to want to miss this one. Let's go. Hey, Sam. Hey, I appreciate you joining me on the InSync show. How you doing, man?
Hey, Cory. Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Looking forward to the chat.
Yeah, another fantastic connection I met on LinkedIn, of course, right?
Yeah, that's it. LinkedIn is the way, the networking place, so I'm told.
Indeed. Hey, as I mentioned before, you're my first international guest. Thank you for joining me, especially on a Monday here.
Pleasure. Looking forward to it.
So we're going to talk about why B2B websites are so important and why it's killing your revenue. So quick intros, it's Sam Dunning. He's with WebChoice UK. And I'm going to get right after it right now, Sam. What are the most common user experience pitfalls for B2B websites and how can they be avoided?
Yeah, there's tons. And it depends what you mean when it comes to user experience. So I suppose broadly speaking, if we're talking UX, then I suppose if you're talking about the design and style and layout, then a lot of B2B sites forget about mobile view. So that gets neglected. So you open the site on your mobile phone, looks a bit like a potato. Perhaps the menu navigation is quite difficult to access. You're clicking it, you're trying to zoom in, you're trying to scroll around. You can't really see what's for what. And a lot of companies forget to actually make their menu bar sticky. So what I mean by that is no matter when you scroll, it's fixed to the top of the page. And likewise, your main CTA, your main call to action's there. So no matter when you scroll or where you are on the web page on your mobile or desktop, so you can easily access that menu nav and access that main call to action, which typically for B2B sites, you want to start some kind of sales convo, whether that's request a demo or speak to a sales engineer or book your appointment, whatever's relevant for your tech or service-based company. But UX is broad, right? So that could reflect to messaging, that could reflect to design, that could reflect the actual tech that the site's built on or how people scroll through it. Was there anything specific you'd like me to drill into?
Yeah, actually, one of the things that I've really been interested in is some of the maybe not so well knowns. Like you talked about the importance of FAQs, testimonials, and where they're placed on the website. Actually, I was like blown away by that. In fact, I've been using some of your direction and what compelled me to reach out to you in the first place. Yeah, if you could expand on that, that'd be fantastic.
Oh, yeah. So there's a bunch of and that kind of thing. So if we're talking about website copy, website content, messaging in the B2B space, I could go on for a long time. Right. But if I'll get to the FAQs in a sec, but I suppose one of the big things on that topic, and you might have questions on this later, but so many B2B sites are unclear in terms of their value proposition, the problems they fix, the jobs they help people get done, or the end result, the impact that they have on potential customers' businesses. So if we start from the top, like things like essentially, when someone lands on your homepage, whether they've come from a Google search, whether they've been referred to you or elsewhere, they're usually time poor and they're not going to want to spend a ton of time trawling through your site to know what you do. So they want to quickly be hit with a clear value proposition in your homepage, kind of banner or hero area to know exactly what you do, the juicy problem you're going to fix for them, or how you're going to improve their life or business. But so many companies, especially in the tech space, you land on their homepage and it's like an award-winning 720-degree angle, all-in-one inclusive revenue generating platform. And you scroll down for a few seconds, you're still quite unsure as to what they do or the problems they can help you overcome or how they're going to improve anything. So starting with clarity is important, or they're rambling on about the awards they've won or how they're best in class, when ultimately, if you put that kind of stuff, every man and his dog has got that on their website. So just by considering what your customers care about for that, whether that's your headline messaging or whether that's copy later on in your homepage or inner pages, is going to have a big impact on your business. Because if people, there's a saying that I think a guy called Donald Miller came up with, if you confuse, you lose. And it couldn't be more true for your website. So if you're sending traffic to it and your website doesn't resonate or hit home, with how you're helping them, you're going to miss them. So customer research is so vital to understand what people actually want to see when they land on your website and what they want to get done.
So it's not about the features then, right? I thought it was all about the bells and whistles and features. That's the patent feature dumping, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's when it's easily done. And especially if you're the founder or the owner of the business, you get so locked into your offer, into your product. And you love it, fair enough, because you probably created part of it or you put it together. But then the worst thing you can do is design your website around what you think looks good, or what your marketing team think looks good, or what your CEO thinks look good, because you've got a warehouse or you've got unlimited tech of your offering. You've got it in abundance. You're not the one buying it. It's your prospective target or dream clients that you want this website to resonate and hit home with. So that's why research is often neglected when it comes to websites and interviewing kind of target prospects or clients that have recently signed up, and really understanding like, what was the problem they came to you to fix? How did you help them? What was the impact this problem was having on the business? What were the results they were looking for? How did you help them? And these kind of things can help you understand the value you provide and why people come to you. So then that can be clear and first and foremost in your messaging when it comes to headlines and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. I don't think people really understand the dramatic impact a website has on revenue. In fact, I've seen almost a regression in some industries where the website's almost like an afterthought now. We have this great product. We just need to get an online brochure up as quickly as possible. So the impact of conversion rates has on revenue. What are some strategies that people at companies can do? And can you enlighten us on what that impact might be and what people should really look like to optimize that experience?
Yeah, so to make your website actually a revenue driver.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. So something I ramble on about all the time on LinkedIn is that your website can quite literally be your very best or very worst salesperson, depending on how you research it, design it, build it, market it, and then continually ramp it up with your content, messaging, and the way you bring it to market with advertising, marketing, and all that good stuff. So what I mean by that is your site is, for most B2B companies, the main funnel or the main tool that you're going to use to drive inbound opportunities, whether that's demo requests, consult requests, bookings, whatever's relevant to your company. So it's crucial that it really hits home with target clients, like I bang on about a lot. And this is the other thing to consider, is that you've got to market it effectively, which we can talk about later, on the channels that your prospects are using, whether that's Google search or whether that's other channels, to make sure it's actually going to be found by prospects. Because with your website, if you build it, they won't come. You've got to market it. Yeah, when it comes to B2B sites, from my experience, I think we've done kind of 340, 350 sites over the last 10 years or so. Typically, from B2B standpoint, most prospects, when they land on your site, they want to get a quick idea of what you do, how you help, and the problems that you fix. They probably want to see some proof of results. So whether that's customer success stories, case studies, testimonials, client review videos, all that good stuff to give them confidence that you can get the job done and that you fix these problems and delivered results for similar businesses. They probably want to get an idea of your pricing. So if it's a SaaS tool, you might have 3 tiers. If you're a service-based industries, then you could give a bracket prices like rates for this service from 5 to 20K, contact us for a consult. They probably want to, what you leaned into earlier, get their questions answered. So they probably want to address some FAQs. So I like to weave in FAQs on relevant service pages or product pages or integration pages, whatever's relevant for your site. So for each main service page, you're addressing the common questions that you get on sales calls, perhaps towards the bottom of that page. And they want to see your offer under the bonnet. So if you're service-based, what I mean by that is perhaps detailed case studies of before and afters, results gained and all that good stuff. If you're SaaS, if you're technology-based, then maybe a video review demo, maybe screenshots of the product in action, maybe GIFs of the demo or the tech in action, all that stuff. And if you check all those boxes and you fulfilled all those key pages, then they want to make it nice and easy for people to speak to sales. So clear call to actions to book that demo, set up that call, request an assessment. And these days, most B2B sites use calendar booking tools. So Chili Piper, Calendly, whatever you want to use to make it nice and easy for prospects to book time with sales. So those are some of the main things on B2B sites these days that people want to see as a base level to ensure you're actually getting leads through the door.
Awesome insights. One of the big things in my industry of hospitality is there's a huge divide and this has been going on for a long time between marketing and sales, they traditionally did not work together, and they've been working in silos. Can you also maybe illustrate or underscore the importance that marketing has on sales and how much easier it can be for the sales team when marketing does their job and qualifies or brings a prospect through a funnel in a very dynamic and educational process that answers a lot of questions that you just described? I don't think sales really still understands what value marketing can bring to their pocketbook or to the bottom line.
Yeah. It's a tricky one. And I often think that us marketers sometimes have it too easy because we don't realize sometimes how hard sales job is.
Absolutely.
As at the end of the day, most of them are doing a ton of cold outreach, banging, knocking down new doors, prospecting, cold calling, cold messaging, whatever they're doing to break into target accounts. A lot of marketers don't realize how difficult that is. So marketers can make sales life easier, especially with the website side of things, because a lot of marketers, sadly, will optimize their website to drive as many leads and inquiries, MQLs, SQLs, whatever you want to call them, as possible. When in truth, if you do that, if you're trying to drive as much traffic, but then get as many inquiries as possible for your site, it's actually going to annoy sales because they're going to drive to a ton of trash that probably a good percentage won't be able to actually afford your offer. They might not be the right fit client or another reason, which wastes everyone's time and gives a bad impression on your brand. So to your point, there's loads of things you could do, right? So I suppose some kind of high level stuff is what we talked about earlier. So pricing page, give an indication of what your offer costs. And on that page, address some common questions around pricing, i.e. what are the terms? How does it work? Do you get a dedicated account manager? What kind of support? Any other policies, typical questions that people ask around that. You can talk about your processes. So if you're a service-based solution, what's the process from initial sign-on to client onboarding to all the rest of it that's involved in your offer? If you're a tech-based, kind of a similar flow. You can have FAQs we talked about. You can have useful articles that might address common questions that you get around certain things in your industry, certain issues, certain problems. Another good thing is if you're constantly getting the same objections. So the good thing about what I recommend usually is marketing teams get with sales, once a month or so, have some lunch, have some beers, have some coffee, whatever you want to do, and then make a list in that 45 minutes, that hour, of the top questions you're getting each month on sales conversations and the top objections you're getting that month. Narrow it down to, the top 5. And if you can, create some media to directly attack those things. And that can go on your website. So you could start with, a video podcast like we're doing now. And then you chop that up into a long form blog article that goes on your site. You then produce several, social snippets that then you can chuck on LinkedIn with a little video clips and a little summary and all. So not only is that going to be good because it's actually got demand, because you're getting these questions, these objections week in, week out. It's on your website. So if someone's got that concern, they can flick to it there and see it. And it's also searchable, evergreen content that can be found on YouTube, the podcast channels and that. So those are a few ideas, but there's so much that they can work together on to improve inbound and quality.
Awesome stuff. What a controversial question, and I'm taking a little bit of page out of Marcus Sheridan's deal here. The biggest barrier, and one of his biggest suggestions, and you didn't mention it on your list, is pricing. So I wanted to get your thoughts. What's your thoughts on the whole pricing scenario?
What, you mean to share your pricing?
Yep.
Yeah, share your price, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so pricing page, certainly as a B2B business.
In every industry, is that a standard across the board, or is that in select circumstances?
Yeah, so I said pricing earlier, but probably my British accent, it sounds weird. But I don't know what I used to describe it, but it's probably my funny Southern British accent that
you said chuck, that you threw me for a loop there. I wasn't quite sure what that, but I picked up what you put down, so we're all good.
Yeah, I think any B2B tech or service company should share price. If you're in tech sales, if you're in SaaS, software as a service, then it's quite standard. You've usually got 3 or 4 tiers, like A, B, C, D, certain levels of pricing, it's per month. Whereas when you get to a lot of the time where I hear objections is it's when it's more of a bespoke or customized service. So if you're selling services, you're selling solutions, and you usually need to have a few conversations with a prospect before you can put together a proposal, a plan, a solution, and we're talking kind of 6-figure plus deals, then a lot of people are scared stiff to share their pricing. They're like, Sam, if we put pricing on a website, we won't get any leads. yeah, you'll get leads, but the ones that come in probably can't afford your shit.
Totally.
So not put a range. So if you are more of a customized solution or service provider, why not say these are our top 3 services that people typically come for? For service A, it's 5 to 10K plus. Service B is 10 to 20. Service C is 25 to 50 plus. And then address some questions that you get around pricing on sales calls, like I mentioned earlier in that page. Put some social proof, put some video testimonials, some written testimonials and such. Explain a bit more about your process and how it works from onboarding to kind of completion and ongoing. And that way your pricing page is going to be an asset. And what you'll notice is when you put a pricing page, it'll be one of your most visited pages. And that's for a reason, because people want to know if they can afford your offer before they get in touch.
Absolutely. And it blows up the whole misconception, I think, is that, hey, if we get sales on the phone, we can talk through the value and somehow magically the budget will appear. But I'm with you, absolutely. And as you had mentioned, there should be so much information and education on the website. By the time they reach out to you anyways, they should have most of their questions answered, which leads me to a quick follow-up about the whole FAQs, getting your sales team together to ask, obviously, one-on-one questions. But what are your thoughts on using ChatGPT and some of the AI tools to also source that? Do you see some value in there in mixing maybe those up so you can create maybe a really comprehensive FAQ page?
You could, right? I don't think there's any. I think doing that as a base level, certainly, especially if you're, let's say, a bootstrapped founder and you're time short, and it's one of the first things you do, because like you said, ChatGPT can probably pump out an entire list. If you give it a prompt, questions around, and then you put your industry name, it's probably going to give you 1,001 responses, right?
Totally.
And how relevant they are, some might be some might not be. So as a base layer, to do that and then tweak it and change it and remove what's relevant, that's probably fine. But if it was me, I'd want stuff that's more tailored, that's going to resonate, and it's actually going to be relevant, i.e. my sales team are saying, yes, we're hearing these time and time again on sales calls. And likewise, if I want my website to rank well on Google search and the organic results on Google, and if I want it to be decent on SEO, then I'm going to think about the Google helpful content update. They want their pages to conform to EEAT, which stands for experience, expertise, authority, trust. If I'm getting all my content from a robot, will it show hands-on experience and hands-on expertise? Probably not so much. If I'm getting it directly from the horse's mouth, my sales team, if I'm listening into customer calls with tools like Gong or Chorus or Fireflies or similar, and I know what my customers care about, I know their regular questions, objections, pain points, and I'm leveraging that into my copy, probably going to perform a bit better.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of the reasons that you and I have these podcasts, right? In fact, that's what we're reverse engineering content. I'm starting now with these interviews first as a baseline and then optimizing it with some of the tools that we have, because it can't be replicated. Like, as we've all seen a fire hose of content now, and it's people have their AI radar up, and so it's pretty easy to detect it now, right? People are wise to us, are wise to marketers pretty quickly. And I know you put a ton of time and effort. In fact, I get your emails daily or every other day? You're doing a fantastic job. So I just want to give you props for that. So it can be overwhelming. You look at somebody's website, not sure where to start. If you were to give a person, and again, not reviewing their site, and don't necessarily have some of the things that we talked about. If you were to give them one tip and limited resources, what would you say would be the most impactful improvement on a B2B website today?
I'd ask yourself one question. Take yourself out of your shoes and think you're a prospective customer. What would you, if you had the problem that you solve, or if you needed the offer that you provide and you needed the results you provide, depending on what you do, what would you care about quickly seeing if you came to this website for the very first time? That could probably be one of the best tips that I could provide. Take yourself completely out of the equation. You've never heard of your brand before. You've never heard of the company. This is the first time you're landing on the site as a new prospect needing the offer. What do you want to see quickly to be able to have the confidence to have a sales conversation?
Love that. I literally was talking earlier today. That's why it really hit a point with me. It is so difficult for some of us, including myself. I used to do the same thing, but literally taking ourselves out of our shoes and putting ourselves in somebody that knows nothing about our business. It may seem obvious for us, but dialing that back to a 5th grade scenario where we literally know nothing. And I think a lot of the assumptions that we make, if we take those out and go back to the basics, and like you said, starting from scratch and really experiencing our website from the very basics is a fantastic tip. Man, this has been great. I really appreciate the conversation, Sam. Hey, what are you up to now, and where can people find you, by the way?
Appreciate having me on. So there's a few ways. LinkedIn, Sam Dunning. I share my tips, ideas around websites, SEO and B2B marketing pretty much every day. And then like you mentioned, Cory, I send daily emails with similar ideas around how you can make your website a top inbound driver, how you can rank better on Google, and also run a top 10 B2B marketing podcast called Business Growth Show. But all those resources you can grab if you head over to samdunning.org. You can get all of those, my playbook, my email list, or apply to work with me at samdunning.org.
Yeah, I have your SEO checklist I downloaded, and it's chock full of some great value in there. And it looks like you're looking for a new headline sponsor for your podcast. I got that as well. So I'm getting it from all sides from you, and it's working. So yeah,
cheers, man. Good to chat.